Hey guys, and welcome to the interviews with Oluchi. How you doing? This week we have Thumeka Moletsane Henkerman, aka Summer, who is a qualified chartered accountant and head of operations at Sanlam. She is also a very strong mental health advocate through her social media. She's also a sneakerhead, and I'm so excited to have her today.
I think you can
Hey,
now.
how
Hey,
are
how are
you?
you? I'm
I'm
good.
good.
And yourself?
Yeah, no, thank you. So, are you not at the office today?
No, I'm at home, and I just realized I'm the only professional in the world who doesn't have Zoom on their phone. So I just
Oh,
had to download Zoom very quickly.
okay, I'm glad you did. And of course, thank you so much to Mega for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No worries at all. Happy to help and happy to celebrate your 1 year. How do you feel?
I feel good, man. I feel good. It's a journey and it's been a journey and it's going to continue to being a journey. I think like exactly like what you posted on your YouTube. I'm getting to the point where I am aligning myself with the flow of life instead of trying to put a number into what I consider to be success in terms of the book, what I'm doing, and everything else. So I am going with the flow and just doing it because I tell myself all the time, I really would be doing it anyway. It's just that because there's a lot of things I wish for, like being out of corporate. So you just want things to happen and it takes time. So I'm in that space now where I like know it takes time and I just have to be comfortable with that.
No, that's true. And remember to always align purpose. You know, God sometimes put us to the test whether are you doing this for the right reasons? And
Yeah.
if it's your purpose, it doesn't matter how many people are following you or how many people are watching the videos. And
Yeah.
for me, I always say as long as one person has done it and that person was content and happy with what they heard, I'm content as well. I'm satisfied.
For me, I had to think about exactly what the book has done for me. And what the book has done for me is to release myself from the shackles that was my life before. And I'm very happy with that. And I always think about the fact that had it been for me, I doubt I would have put the book out, but it kept coming to me that, you know what, you're not the only one. Just go out there, you're going to find people. And I keep finding people every day. And that gives me so much joy.
You should be proud of yourself. It's a beautiful book. I'm not a reader, but I like the size and the preciseness of the book. It's to the point instead of narrating a whole thing only to find out the point is at the last paragraph or something. I love the book. I think I'm on chapter 6 now. So definitely something I want to finish in the next few weeks. I'm not very big on reading, but I honestly think you should pat yourself at the back. It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful book, honestly.
Yeah, no, I do. And I actually wanted people who don't read to have access to the book. I read a book going to Cape Town and I finished it before I landed. And I was like, this is exactly what, if I were to write a book, I want to be like. If you're stuck for an hour, you can finish the book and decide if you want to make a change or not. So that's why I wanted.
That's great.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start. Please, if you can send me your bio so I can just do that snippet before your interview. Okay, so
no worries.
hi Thumeka, thank you so much for joining me on the interviews. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Like, I was really privileged when I got the invite. So I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you, Queen. So I have 5 questions for you today. And the first one is, so the reason why I know you is that I had a social media help me try to get traction on my page. Her name is Colleen. And when I got back to managing my own page, I was like, I saw your page and I saw your content. And I was drawn to the work that you're doing around mental health. The sneaker content is great. It's just that I'm not a sneaker. But it's great. I followed your YouTube channel as well, and I started learning about mental health. Firstly, thank you so much for giving us that gift and sharing your story. I wanted to find out from you, how would you define mental health and what are some of the misconceptions about it?
Okay, thank you so much, and I guess thank you for bumping into my page somehow. Although I'm really sad that you're not really a sneaker person, but I've learned that I'm converting a few females to sneakerhead vibes, so that's fine.
Hopefully
one day. So for me, I always define mental health as an unknown. Because people go to school and they study this thing, but nobody really understands it except the person going through it. So mental health, there's different kind of mental health. You get your anxiety, you get people suffering from depression, schizophrenia, bipolar. So those all fall under the word mental health. So personally, for me, I can speak from experience where anxiety is concerned, which is basically what I was diagnosed with is GAD, which is general anxiety disorder with severe panic attacks. I always say we all experience it differently, and we'll always interpret it in a different manner because we don't go through it the same way. So for me, I always say it's the unknown, whereas with a physical health issues, you can pinpoint what is wrong, but to try and explain to someone what you mean when you say you have mental health related issues, that's a difficult question. So it's the unknown, and only the person going through it would be in a position to actually define it in such a manner that this is what they're going through.
Okay, so basically, what you're saying, the misconception is everybody just thinking it's one size fits all, and that everybody's just different in how they experience it.
Exactly. And I think the biggest misconception around it, because it's so hard to explain what it is, people all often think that when you're saying you're suffering from mental health issues, you're unstable. Because, it's so easy to say, I have a headache, I have a stomach ache, I have this. But with mental health, you just say, like personally for me, I always say, I'm scared. And someone would be like, what do you mean you're scared? Are you just in general scared? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm scared of. I know in the beginning stage of getting sick, I was scared to go outside because outside really posed a danger that I couldn't explain to anybody. And obviously, when you tell someone that I'm scared and you can't really tell them what you're scared of, automatically they think you're crazy. You can't substantiate the feelings because it's so hard for you to pinpoint what you're scared of. So the biggest misconception is the fact that people think that when we say we have mental health illnesses, we mean that we're crazy or we're mentally unstable.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Secondly, I was watching one of my faves, Naomi Campbell, on her YouTube channel, and she was talking to Chris Rock, and they were discussing mental health, and he was about to embark on a healing journey to Ohio. So they're there for a week. I think it's called Owaska or something like that, but they're there for a week and do an intense purging and healing. And what he said is that people actually go to the gym every day to be physically well, but people who use resources for their mental health are shunned upon. For example, going to therapy and going to healing sessions. What is your stance on that? And what are some of the resources available to help people suffering from mental health?
Okay, so yes, we often take physical health as the main thing. It's very quick for you to jump out of bed when you're feeling sick to go to the doctor to seek some help. But when I explain to people the journey I went through to get my diagnosis, you would swear that you would think, why did you go through all of that when you knew exactly what was wrong with you? Like I remember, I did so many medical exams. I did 3 heart tests, all costing a lot of money, and I did chest x-rays, head scans to rule out anything that for me was physical. And once I was diagnosed with mental health, I invested in a resource of therapy. As much as I'm offering a platform where people can actually get information where mental health is concerned, I always say in my disclaimer that my videos are in no way a substitution for you going to therapy. therapy is your first and your biggest step after you get your diagnosis, that you need to speak to someone who has been trained to deal with mental health so that they can give you the tools that you need to actually navigate with this illness. So for me, I would say the biggest resource there is out there is therapy. And people need to do sufficient research. I always say that education is key. There's therapists out there that do pro bono work. Therapy is very expensive, obviously. You know, for a session, I think I was paying it 1.2 for one session of 30 minutes, and I needed to have them for a couple of weeks. So the people who do not have the financial means to actually be in a position to pay for therapy, do proper research where you can actually see there are psychologists that can actually do the work pro bono. So I would really say your biggest resource is therapy. Nothing can substitute therapy, because for me, I'm one of those people who are against therapy. Because I believe the therapist usually leverages off what you're saying. However, through therapy, I learned coping techniques. I learned how to journal, things that actually are helping me now to actually be in a position to identify my triggers, to identify things that are actually contributing to my mental well-being. So I can't stress this enough. As much as you run away from therapy, it's your first and your most important resource in order to get the help that you need.
Yeah, definitely. I second that. I do therapy literally every year. Right now, I'm looking at doing therapy for the remainder of the year, because for some reason, because I've been purging so much, I think I'm at the place now where I need to move out of the space. And I've been feeling like a bit of resistance within my own self. And I was like, you know what? I can be fake and think I can journal it out, but really what helps is thinking it out with someone who is a professional in that regard. So definitely I support therapy, and I always tell people to go to therapy every year. And I use the free resources available through corporate, which is ICAS. I know a lot of different organizations have ICAS available to them, and Discovery Medical Aid as well.
And just while we're still there, and I think this is the one resource that people don't actually understand the benefits that it brings: self-care. Like, I can't stress this enough, that that doesn't even require a whole lot. It could be just you soaking yourself in a bath and getting time to reflect. You know, I do it every Friday and every Sunday religiously, where I run a bath, I put on music, I put on a mask, and I have me time to reflect and take a moment to breathe. That doesn't cost anything. The minute you get out of there, you feel so refreshed. You feel so thought out of everything that you've been through in a week. So I choose Friday as a reflection part of the week that I've been, and I choose Sunday as almost like, how do I begin this week on a clear mind and clear body and soul, you know, being in the right space. So people, you have the resources at home. You can self-care at home. You don't even have to spend that much money to do it. So therapy and self-care, for me, those are my things.
Thank you so much. Well, you recently, well, not so recent anymore, you posted a vlog on your YouTube channel about love and mental health. Can you summarize what you were talking about in that regard, for those that didn't watch it, and what we need to understand about being with someone who's got mental health in love and in family relationships? And how can we support without infringing?
Yeah. So people often ask me, you know, how did my now husband stay? Because obviously I got... So I got diagnosed. We've been together for 8 years. So I got diagnosed while he was my fiance. He actually had just proposed when I got diagnosed. And you know what? There were times where I thought I wouldn't be upset with him if he left. You know, I would be okay with him leaving, because it was so much of a burden to be with me at that point. Do you get it? Because I just wanted to sleep. I was constantly crying. You know, we worked in the same organization, and I often called him to say, meet me at this boardroom. And I just wanted to cry. And,
wow.
you know,
That is so nice.
and I'd be like, he'd look at me waiting for an explanation of what is going on now, but I can't provide the explanation because even I don't know what is happening.
Yeah.
So basically with that video, what I was trying to bring across, now that I'm of a better well-being state and reflecting back at that time, that the first thing, if someone really loves you, they will stay no matter what.
True.
And if they leave, don't take it as though they never loved you. Just take it as something that even they don't have the physical, the emotional strength to take care of you at that point. Do you get it? So instead of staying in your life for the sake of, it's better for them to leave, and that's okay. Don't take it as though, because remember, people are going through their own mental struggles as well. So imagine you going through a turmoil of mental health related issues, and now here's your partner going through it. You need to support them. Sometimes you're just not capable of doing it at that point, and it's okay for the person to leave. So I think that is the things that I was trying to highlight with that video, that when someone stays, they will stay. However, when someone chooses to leave, it's okay. It's not a true reflection on that they never loved you at all. And the second thing that I wanted to highlight with that video is that we are worthy of being in relationships as well. Just because we have mental health issues doesn't mean that that is already a ticket to being single for the rest of your life. It's good to have a partner. It's good to have a companion that you share jokes, you share ideas, you share life with. And you will meet someone who's capable of loving you regardless of what you're going through. So for me, I think those were the two things. And I was trying to show people as well how my relationship works. So if you go back to some of my videos, there is a video I did with my husband where I sat him down and I asked him how he feels, and he was giving people almost advice of how do you navigate as the partner who doesn't have mental health issues in a relationship. So people can go and actually watch that. And just on the question of how can we support, I think listening is one of the things that we need. And for you to understand the struggle when we can't actually express ourselves. Because for me to explain to you what I go through when I'm feeling anxious, it's not the normal anxiousness that people feel. Mine is completely different. Mine is off the rails. And in those moments, you know, when I come out of that situation, I explain to my husband, if I go into this trance again, this is what I expect you to do. Hold my hand, do this. So I think the only way that we can be supported is through listening. However, for people who are going through mental health issues as well, you need to be willing to speak, because people can't support you if they don't know how you want to be supported. So firstly, I think it's very important for you to understand how the person wants to be supported, and that is the responsibility of the person going through mental health issues. And then you as the person to not come with your own, you know, we read a lot about these things and we want to, you know, offer support in ways that we've read that it works somewhere. But if I'm telling you this is how you should support me, that's how I expect you to support me, not something you read somewhere and now you want to impose. That's when the frustration comes out and we actually get to a point where we think we're on our own because you fail to listen to me.
Thank you so much. I know I'm supposed to be asking you 5 questions, but I'm enjoying this conversation about support and how to. And I wanted to find out, how do you navigate corporate with mental health? And you can go about it in any direction that you feel could be useful to us.
Okay, so I think for me, I'm very transparent when it comes to my mental health issues. I say it out flat that I suffer from severe anxiety. I don't hide it, and you will hire me knowing very well that's what I suffer from. And I think I do have a full episode on how to navigate within the corporate space. But for me, I think the most important thing is knowing that I need to put myself first all the time. Remember, like now I'm at Sanlam. I'm the head of operation at Sanlam.
Yes,
I was
definitely.
I was a senior audit manager looking at 2 steps before I become partner, and that's all I have ever wanted. But because of the stress that came with being in the audit environment, I needed to choose me. I needed to choose myself. And that's how I ended up having to move out of audit to get this job at Sanlam, because my well-being was suffering in the space I was in. So it was a high-paced environment. And I soon realized that I need to ensure that my career aspiration are not at the expense of my well-being. So that is the most important thing that you need to know, that when the minute you leave the organization, they will find someone to substitute you. Whereas you'll be stuck in a mental institution somewhere having a nervous breakdown. So I think for me,
Please, can you say that again? Because people don't understand the fact that
people
corporate
don't
is going to replace your corpse this second.
We are replaceable. We're not irreplaceable. When you leave, they will find someone to come into your place while you somewhere being treated for mental health issues, you're having a nervous breakdown, or even worse, you die, which, you know, it's fully possible. So I'd say for me, really, Olu, I am one person who know that I will generate my wealth through my career. But in my career, I always show I come out number one, that I'm a priority no matter what. If that means that I don't have a job and I'm sitting at home because my well-being is not okay, I will do it. Let's not kill ourselves trying to prove, trying to work for people we don't even know, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I had to learn that as well. I wrote a whole chapter on overcoming that challenge. So thank you so much. The last question is so it's the anniversary of I Before We. When I found you and I found your YouTube page, I saw a similarity in what we are doing, which is basically to get people to understand themselves better. I gave you that book because of that parallel. I wanted to find out from you, I know you're still on chapter 6, what did you learn from the chapters that you've read?
Okay, so I think thank you so much for the gift of the book. I was really shocked when you said you're going to send me a book, and it really meant the world for me. I know my sister has read the book finished, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's great.
So my favorite chapter of that book, Olu, and I feel as though you need to make it a whole book in the next circle or whatever.
No pressure.
Is actually the chapter about the past. We can try to run, but it will always catch up with us. I know I did a whole video about emotional baggage and things that I thought I was okay with from the past. And as time went by, I realized that we can't bury things and move away and, you know, run. They will always catch up with us. You know how you were talking about your dysfunctional family abuse within the environment, and you thought you were okay because you didn't want to look back because now you were looking forward. It catches up with us, whether we like it or not. And I think that is the one thing that people need to realize, that our past generally stops us from progressing to the next level because we've left so many unresolved things in the past that we think we're okay to leave them there. It's either going to be a stumbling block to things that you want to achieve, or better yet, it's going to push you to be a better person. But whether you like it or not, both of them are going to come in your life. There will be a point where it's a stumbling block because you didn't address it. But I honestly like how you were so open in that chapter with regards to your home environment, and you know how at the end of it all, you realize the person you didn't want to be. You don't want to be in a similar environment your mother was in. You realize the person you never want to be when you grow up. But I'm so happy that that friend that you had at that point, and who said, you know, you need to deal with it, that she was there to push you. That's the support structure that we need. She was there to push you to say, you know what, you need to deal with it. And the mere fact that you were on that call, and when you started that call, you were so strong. And by the time you finished that that call you an emotional wreck. It just shows that we're walking and we're thinking we're okay. But actually, you need to break down the barriers. You need to break down the past. You need to put peace and be comfortable with things that happened in the past, as opposed to burying them and leaving them. I know I'm also partly guilty, because there's a whole video I did on grief. It's in my past. I did it, but I haven't revisited. I'm too scared to revisit it. But I am so glad that you had the opportunity to revisit something as traumatic as watching your mother go through that experience. And look at you now. Look at the woman you're turning out to. I honestly love the book. And I think the other chapter that I like is the solitude. I think it's chapter 2. I think it's chapter 2 of the book.
It is chapter 2.
Oh, I thought you were frozen there. It is chapter 2. I honestly love how I'm very unapologetic when it comes to me time. I need me time. My husband knows it as well. And I enjoyed that chapter and how you learned to put yourself first, to put your time first, and people that are in our lives, they will always understand. That's why I always say, you need to be very mindful of the people that you're attracting and you allowing in your life, because they will never expect more than you can give out of them.
Yeah.
So.
And I just want to add to that, you need to make sure that you have the right people. And that comes from the ability to just let go of connections that don't work. And which is something that I'm learning right now, because I'm very empathic and I will know that you're a bad person, but the inside is going to be like, everybody deserves a chance.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I know not to do it. And it's come now to people that I've had in my life for like years and years and years. We grew up together, and I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? It's just cut the people off. Just cut the people off. And I've learned that so much with writing this book. I had another IG page where I had a lot of people that I knew from varsity, from work, from everything. And I literally had to start from scratch and say that I am letting go of that, or whatever that I thought that meant, and I'm starting here with these new people. And look who I found. I've found you and other great individuals that are on the same path that I'm on. And so I'm grateful for your channel, and I'm grateful for your Facebook page, Princess Anxiety, and congratulations on being nominated for the SAICA 35 under 35 most influential. Yes.
So let's hope we bring it home. But I think for me, it's not necessarily about winning. It's really about being recognized for what I'm doing for people in the mental health space. It's been fulfilling, and I honestly understand that it's my purpose, because I do it with so much ease. I shoot a video, and the first videos, like my previous videos, they were very heavy, and every time I shot a video, after I finished shooting it, I'd feel emotionally drained. But for some reason, it felt as though strength was being restored in me to shoot another video. There were times when I'd be like, I'm not shooting a video ever again after this video. But there was such renewed strength that was being given, to a point I could actually say, I think this is my purpose that God has given me. Yeah. So I honestly want to say thank you as well for the good work that you're doing. I will be doing seminars in the future, when things just get better, and you're definitely on the top of my list for people that I want to come and talk in those seminars, because I really, really, truly admire the work that you're doing. And the one other thing that I love about you is how you root for other women. It's beautiful to see, because especially when you're doing similar things with women, it's always like, okay, she's up a notch on this thing, she's up a notch on this thing, but you root for everyone. It's amazing. You reposting some of our things is probably how we get the attraction. And honestly, we thank you for your heart. We thank you for what you're doing. And I really hope you don't change. I'm really wishing you for more books and success, because I think you found what you were supposed to be doing on this earth.
I believe that too. And thank you so much. I'm not going to cry. I'm such a cry baby these days, and I love it so much because I used to be like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry, living in my shadow. But now I'm like, every 2 seconds. I'm grateful for the journey myself. And thank you so much, Queen. I don't want to waste any more of your time. You need to go ahead.
Yes, I have a meeting at 2.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
How are you doing? Thank you so much, Queen, and have a fantastic day.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye.